Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Woodworking Wisdom Workshops here in Axminster. Today, we're looking at part one of a 5-part kind of garden chair build for you. We're looking at building the Adirondack chair, a very traditional kind of North American porch or garden style chair. So I'm here with my friend and colleague, Jason Breach. Jace, wake up.
Oh, we're not on, are we? Oh, come on.
We're going to look at this step by step and very traditional and very comfortable, clearly, very comfortable garden chair. We're going to go through materials, hints and tips on layout, machine use, and that sort of stuff. So stick with us for the next hour and let's have a look at this. So we'll go over to Jace just to give you, now he's awake, to give you the rundown on the chair itself. So over to you, mate.
Okay, so the chair, what is it? You're going to be the envy of all your friends with this in your garden. We know this from working here because the number one comment that we get with this, Craig, is what?
Can I have one?
Everybody wants one of these. So no matter when we make them, and I'm dreading the end of this as a project because it's going to be, I want that.
I think Colwyn's already asked for it.
No, I said Ben can have it.
Oh, okay.
And Lily said she wants it for a G&T chair.
Oh.
So Lily's probably more chance than Colwyn. I mean, but there you go. So our chair. Now, this is, and we're going to look at it. I mean, we've got plans. VERITAS make plans, or Lee Valley do plans for this. This is a Canadian style chair, from what I understand. I think it originated over there, or the US, and I'm hoping I haven't offended either of those two groups, okay? But I know it came from that part of the world. Where exactly, don't know. Now, this is a style of chair. Most of them are what I would class as a rigid garden chair. So it's one thing, as you see it now, and can't do anything with it. And you guys in the States and Canada, you've got more room. It's just really not fair. So you've got a garden shed that you can store this in? Wow. Okay, so I'd love to have something that size we can store this in. So the joy with this as a chair is the fact that it actually folds up. So bring it back a little bit, and it goes down to something nice and flat, quite compact, a lot less storage space. So it makes it very unique as a chair. We really like these as an item. So you kind of get the idea, quite small, compact, once it's folded down. And that's what makes this so unique as a chair from us for a project. Just going to put them back over there. So it's a little bit out of the way. Our plans, as we kind of said, we've got plans we've got up on the bench here. Now, we're sorry we can't give you plans. These do belong to VERITAS. We do sell this as an item. They are a full-size scale drawing. There is two sides of the chair on here. We've only ever made the smaller. The bigger chair, unless you're 7'10", you're never going to get out of it. It's a struggle to get out, believe me. It's just, okay, so we do one size, we do the smaller. So we said we've got full-size plans. We've got them up on the bench here. Ben's got the camera. So you've got an idea of what's on here. Now, when we started doing these, and I've already hinted the fact that once you start making these, everyone's going to want one. So your better aspect with that is make something called a hard copy. So we glued these down to MDF. We cut them out, we shape them, makes it easier to make your project round. You can draw around it easier. So much easier to do, to make up something where you cut them out and have them as a shape. Just going to move a few bits out of the way. So all on there. Timber-wise, what can you use? It depends on where you live, I suppose. But we've got a few sort of native things in here, different bits of wood. Ooh, so the chair we're going to make, we're actually using a pine with Sherman. We have some macrocarpa, which is an English grown timber. It's native to New Zealand originally. Some Western red cedar. So you guys that live in the States and Canada, you will be able to get that really easy. We can get it over here. So it's quite a nice material. And out of all the materials I'm showing you, probably the best. It will last better externally. English chestnut. That's sweet chestnut, not horse chestnut. Sweet chestnut will last longer again. Quite durable. Now you could make them in whatever you want, but think about the weight of it. It's one component when done, so it's quite a bit of material on this. So if you use English oak, which yes, it will last forever, but it's going to be heavy to lift and move about. So that's something to bear in mind. So softwoods tend to be better. They're a little bit lighter in weight. They will work quite nicely. The chair we've got as finished is Douglas fir. We're using today just really what I would class as some Baltic redwood pine. Quite easy to get. I've even checked, if you look at the Orange DIY store website, you can get this size. So just going to put that on there, hoping this will show up a bit more on here. This is, again, part of the plan sheet, the VERITAS Day. If I bring it up, this is complete cutting list. Due fact, it is Canadian, it is imperial. All right, not that difficult to change into metric. So it is there. We have on here 8 planks to make our chair. They were 72 6 by 1 inches or 1800 by 150 by 25 mil for those metric people. Finished size, when we get down to machine it, this planks is 3/4 inch thick. But like I said, that Orange DIY store actually carry what I would class by 6 by, I think it's 2.4 meters, so 150 by 2.4, and it's machined to 19 mil, ready off the shelf. So if you don't have a planer thicknesser, you could do that. It is there, ready to go. As we already said, now we have some redwood. We've done some of the machining just to cut the time right down. Our aim today really is to start going through some of the machining, getting some of the components out. The major component for the base unit is this side rail. All right, so we've got to have 2 of those. We're going to go through how we're going to make it and a few tricks and things we've done over the time. So when we come to machine this, want to get it flat, quite accurate. Again, if you're going to buy this and store, have a look at it, make sure it's not too twisted, it's flat, got something that's going to work nicely. So our plank, like I said, we need 8 of these. So that's a bit we can come back to there. All right, so we've got our plank. Now we want to machine this, get it nice and flat, get it straight. That's quite important. That's going to make it easier. So actually, once it's one length, I'm going to give it to Craig. He can go through what he's going to do with it.
Thank you very much, Jason. So yeah, we've got this piece of softwood really, so it's going to machine quickly and easily. I've got to take this length down from 25 mil to 19 mil, from 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch. It's reasonably straight, which is nice, reasonably flat. So it isn't going to take too long. And I'm going to plane it all round. So you might have heard PAR, planed all round. That's a kind of, a term you'll hear in the timber merchants maybe. PSE as well, plain square edged. And this is kind of going to be PSE, to be honest, plain square edge, because it is going to be dead square when we bring it out. Both surfaces are going to be flat, level and clean. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to use my trusty old trade Axminster planer thicknesser to make this thinner, cleaner, straighter. So let's do that. So we'll go over to the planer first. All right. Now, I'm just going to set my guard just above me material. All right. So I've got my bridge guard. That's going to come up a little so I can just pass underneath. All right. That keeps my cutter block guarded. I've pulled the fence forward a little bit, So I've got just enough blade and table and planer surface to do my wide board. The fence is locked off and the fence is nice and square to the table. I've got some good extraction, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to eyeball it just to see if there's a natural cup, which there isn't, or a natural twist, should I say. Because whenever you get a board like this, you want to be looking at putting it on the planer crown up. All right? If you were to go crown down, you will just follow that curve as you're planing on. You won't make it flatter or straighter. So it's got a slight twist, like I said. So I'm going to plane it that way. I'm only going to take a little tickle off to start with. So I'm just going to drop my in-feed table down about 0.5 millimeter. And that'll be 0.5 millimeter's difference in height of these two tables. 0.5 millimeter timber removed. All right. So I'm going to ask for the extractor to be put on for one of our kind colleagues. So we've got Colwyn looking after some of the questions today, although I'll be asking, or Jace will be asking each other, and Ben's looking after the cameras. So away we go. Safety lock off. All right, let's just turn the machine on. That's a bit better. Okay. So I'm just planing on through. I've got downward pressure. Taking a very light tickle. And then my pressure, once I'm beyond the cutter block, is just after the blades. See, we're not touching now in the middle. That's because it was twisted and bowed that way. And I should just start touching on the end of the board. And that's me flattening. Okay. Let's just do that a couple more times. I'm just going to drop the infeed table a bit more. And we can hear we're taking a heavier cut. Downward pressure just after the cutter block until I get a continuous noise or continuous cut all the way along my board, just like that. So that there now gives me a lovely clean flat edge. Now that's step one. That's your starting point to get you a nice flat clean surface. Now when I'm on the top surface, still on the planing part, I'm going to do some edging. So it's a case of just pulling that guard back slightly. So I've done the face. Now I'm going to do the edge. Face and edge. All right. And literally, there we go. So I'm pushing down into this corner. All right. Now it is quite a long piece of material. And I'm quite used to handling material of this size. You might want to use a roller stand to support one end if you're not as comfortable you're doing this. Or you could indeed cut it in half just to make it easier to handle for you, making sure that you obviously get your usable size afterwards. You don't want to chop it in one place and think, well, that piece isn't good anymore. Right, so that's my face and edge. Now I'm going to change the machine to the thicknesser mode to thickness it, to take it down to size. So I'm just going to put that board there. All right, lovely. Turn the machine off. So it's nice and easy to change over. We're just going to take a couple of bits and bobs off. We've got to take the fence off, and that stores nicely on the back of the planer there. Cover that block back over. One table up, other table up, and then I'll bring the hood over and then reattach the extraction like so, and we're ready to thickness. Now I know this board is 25mm, but I know I've just skimmed a little bit off, but it's kind of 24, 25mm. So I'm going to bring my thicknesser table up to 24mm, and that's going to be my first pass. Well, in fact, no, I'm not. Tell you what I'll do, if I can get a rule, tell you what I'll do, just to save winding that thicknesser table all the way up, I'm probably going to do this other edge first, because of course you can use the thicknesser with the board edge on. That's not going to be flat. You can edge on as long as it doesn't get too thin. I like about 20mm is my minimum thickness material to put to a thicknesser kind of edge on. So I'm going to measure this board all round. So we're down to 141, and I'll measure the other end just in case there's a slight variant. Yeah, see, we're 145 there, so it's a good job I did measure. So I'll wind this up to a 140.44. Okay, now the surface that I've just machined, the smooth surface I've just put over the top, that's the bit that goes on your thicknesser table. All right. So it's a slow, steady feed. It's a controlled feed. It's a power feed. I haven't got to push it through. And I'm only going to do one pass on this. Just to give me a clean edge. At that point, I'm going to wind the thicknesser table up to that 24mm. I don't have to turn the machine off. I'm not diving into any of the blades or anything like that. So I can wind that up. And we've got a nice scale on the side here, which is nice and precise. So there we go. There's 20. Let's just drop that. 24. Lock that off. And now the surface that I first faced on the top, that goes on my thicknesser table. Right. Slow controlled feed, about 8 meters a minute, feeding through the cutter block. Lovely finish coming out. All right. And then we'll go again. And we'll work our way into the material till I get to my 3/4 of an inch or 19 mil. A little more a heavier cut. There's about 1.5 millimeters, maybe 2 mil coming up there now. So I'm just going to double check where we're at. All right, so we're 22 mil and I want to be 19. So another turn of the hand wheel. Finish is really good coming through the planer. Really going to cut down our kind of finishing and sanding time. Okay, so let's give that another measure. Where we are. All right, 20 mil and one more pass. I'm being super fussy here, getting calipers out to measure this sort of thing for a garden chair, but I tend to do that. Right, so this one more pass. Now what I'll do at this stage actually is just have a little look to see if there's any really rough spots or any spots that have been missed, and then that would be the area or the side that I'd machine. But we're pretty equal through. There's a reasonably clean board to start with. Making sure we supported it comes out so the board doesn't drop and we end up getting a bit of snipe. Let's turn the machine off because I'm pretty confident we're going to be there. And there we are, 19.2. Is 19.2 okay for you? Right. So what we'll do now, we'll go over to Jace and he'll do a little bit of cutting and marking out on the bench. All right. There we go, mate.
So we got our plank. Now there's more than these two components in this chair. So obviously time-wise and what we can do in a video, we're trying to give you an idea of, so we've machined up one plank at a if you're doing this as a job, you're going to do it all together, all down to the same thickness, work through it. If you get any sticking on the planer bed or anything, clean that bed, go over that bit so we can get it nice and clean, wax it or run through better, always helps. Especially on the last pass. There's nothing worse than getting through the last pass and things start to stick and they don't flow nicely. So quite an important part, definitely worth pine. So we've got our plank. We've got the nice thing on this, Craig's done both edges. Beautifully done, that aspect of standing up on edge to do that. So important. It's one of those questions we often get with students when we've done things in the past, where it shows, which way do I put it in? Do I put it the flat side or the tall side? The tall side. You've got more support, it's wider. So that's good. Craig covered all of that. So we've got our plank up onto the bench. Got it up on there. Nice long piece of wood. Now we have our template. We need to get two out of this. Let me just move a few things down the end of the bench so we don't push things on the floor. Just going to bring this up just a little bit. Going to position it. I've come, this is where we are on the camera for you. That's good. Right up to this end. Got that curve. I can use my fingertips here just to get a position. That one there. That looks quite good. Got a punch. Nailed it down. All right. Craig,
Jason, we've got a question. Could you just repeat what timber we're using today?
Sorry, Craig, repeat.
Which timber what timber we're using today?
This is a redwood type pine. Okay. There are different things coming into the UK of what would be classed as a redwood, but this is the sort of thing that you get is a general building type pine. All right. So.
And you can get that at kind of B&Q in the UK, can't you?
I had a look at it. Like I said, I don't want to mention, but you know, B&Q, yes, it's there. I think it's 2.4 meters, 150 mil wide, 19 mil thick, pre-machined for you. So if you don't have, or buy one now. So big planer thicknesser, fantastic. But if you might not have that, and that's part of the thing of where we're heading now. When we've been doing some of these videos, we don't all have this equipment. There's going to be certain things we're going to do now where you're going to go, could you not use? Sure, if you've got that at home, fantastic. Don't all have these things. Some of you might be hand tool fanatics and want to do this by hand. Lovely therapeutic way of doing it. All right, so on here, we've got our template. We put it on. We laid on there on the template, there are certain positions that are really important. So they're marked, clearly put on. Now one right down here. So I'm actually going to use that just for a second. One there, up there, that one there. Now I'm using basically a nail punch that I've ground down just a little bit. You could use a nice Bradle just to put into those holes. I'll move it over a little bit. We can dot mark the centers. So I have now got 5. All right, going to get that on there. Back to that. Trying to show you what we're doing. So I know we've got to be there, that round, that to that. Draw out round our shape. Whole reason I leveled up on the far end gives me a reposition point every time. If I move my template, I can double check there. I've got the nice slat on the edge. Easy to do. So trying to draw around this. So in a minute when we get to it, everything's apparent. We can see where we're working. Trying to also make it clear enough for the cameras that you can see what we're doing. That's there. We can move it up a bit so you can see where we're working. Going to come up. I want to get 2 out of this. Just going to come up a little bit more to make it more stable. Checking where we are for you guys. Again, it's there. I want my hammer will add a bit of stability. That looks good. Now this one, what I really want to do is just position it. I don't actually need to draw around it. What I want on here is a break line. So I've got a position now that I know I can get both of them out the board. You might be pushing material where you need to get up. You might overlap it a little bit, see where you can get to, but you've got to get as tight as we can. We've got a little bit over, which is great. Nothing worse than chasing material to get this done. I'm going to cut them in half. You could have your mitre saw, your chop saw, jigsaw. Can't do this on the bandsaw. You could do it table saw, a little bit tricky maybe for the moment. In here, we've got the aspect, we've got our 4 cameras set up. So we're trying to show you what we're going to do. So this is just as quick. So our Japanese saw, we can just break that into 2 parts. The one I've drawn on, I'm going to turn this round, position it. I can lose my bench hook. My position, they're pretty good, quite equal. Level up, make sure I've got enough on there. This end's more important because I've got my curve coming round, so I need to make sure that the boarding underneath is covered and we're not going to be short material there. I'll hold this together quickly. I can even, this stage one, you could lay your template back on, draw it out. I've got it drawn on there. It makes it easier for you to see. I'm going to clamp it together. Spring clamps. I really like these. I use these. These add a bit of pressure. And they're quick and simple for this. They allow me to move things easily without things slipping around underneath as well. I'm going to have those on there now. I've just got to look at where I've got this one. I want to get right up on this end a bit more. I want a bit more access here. That can slide up. Checking my screw holes or bolt holes, if you like. So I've got there, one up here. Just going to slide the template in. I want to support this. No, I haven't done. Let's do that. Now, at the moment, with how I've set it up, real simple little thing to adjust. I'm a bit worried about my breakout on the back edge, which we've got to drill some holes. So to allow me to set it up, I'm going to raise it up. A couple of blocks of wood, bit of MDF in underneath, unclip quickly. show how easy we can reset things. Check its level. So my bit of MDF now acts as a breakboard. The two bits of ash, little battens if you like, just raise it up off the bench, give me a nice platform to work on. Make it easier instead of it rocking about and everything else. So simple things to set up. We're going to use a drilling guide, UKJ drilling guide. Why are we using this? We've got a pillar drill. We don't have an extra camera at the moment. We're trying to show you as much as we can. You might not have space for a big pillar drill. The important things of using this, why are we going to use it? I want the hole to be perpendicular, nice and straight and across the board. I don't want any angle. So when the whole chair bolts together, it comes together accurately. It's a weird and wonderful little thing. I can drill freehand with a hole with a recorder's drill dead straight. Can you? We want it to be nice and straight. So got that on there. Recorder's drill can come on. We could even go, let's go little drill for a minute because it will just clip in and out a little bit quicker. He says, to there. Just going to check my hole position now. So I lift that up. Magic thing I need, glasses, just spot that turn to drill. So drill bit size, what are we using? This is a 3/8 drill. Or 9.5 mil for the guys over here. So if we can drill a hole, let's go. Nice speed on there. I line my tip up nicely. This gives me a nice straight hole. Through one board, felt the pressure change. I can drill from my bit of MDF if we need to. I could even set the depth stop. Okay, let's have a look. Hopefully, bring this back out. Just going to check my depth now. I'm down to the stop, which was there, yeah? So I think we're all the way through. Double check. Clip the drill back on. Tiny bit. Okay. First one done. Just going to change the drill bit. Want something smaller. So we can do our chucker. Where am I? Yep. Camera. Just catching on the jaws. Okay. Good. Close them down. Again, remember, guys, we've got obviously live session. If you've got any questions or things, we'd love to hear. Just setting our drill up. Again, pillar drill you could use. Onto there. Gonna go bigger drill. Do the chuck up. Let's swing that round. Quite on my way, mate. Let me just set. Right, okay. Go.
So a question from Frederick. The templates.
Yep.
We made those ourselves from the plans, right?
So bear with us. Okay. So the templates. In reality, well, just I have paper plan kit. When we got the initial one, whenever we made one of these first, we bonded this down to a piece of MDF, some PVA. Don't go using spray mount glue or anything; it draws too rapidly into the MDF. You also won't be able to move it. PVA, you can water it down just a touch, 10%. Put it on carefully, and you might need two people to do this. You're going to stick this down. You could even cut your bits out first if you really like. But I know we stuck it down as one sheet. Get it nice and flat. So you work along it gently, smooth it out, let it dry, then cut them out. The reason it just gives me something to draw around, makes it easier. Okay. So VERITAS do that as a printed plan. We do stock, obviously. One of those weird and wonderful things. So, but by having obviously them stuck down, it makes it a bit more rigid. And then it gives you something that you can play, right? No, okay. So you get the idea. You get something that's a bit easier to work on. The beautiful thing, everything has got a location point marked out, screw holes and everything. So what we're doing now is really coming into that. So back to our board. Hopefully, yeah. Okay, great. So we've got our marks on these. You're going to drill these. Bring our drill round. I want to come down. Let's see where we come to. This will give me a mark. Okay. Just got to come back up now. Glasses back on. I'm going to go back with my little drill. Let's wait. Now I know with this is a 3mm drill bit. One done, marked it. Now I know with this drill at the moment how I'm set up, it's not going to go all the way through. So I will need just to ream these out. So doing it this way, if you've got to do it freehand, it gives you a good start, gives you a straight line. Got to move the last one. Now I've got 3 clamps on here, so easy to move things about. So why are we drilling these now? Just going to get to that on there, last one. Let's take our drill out there. Can use where we drilled down to as our guide now to run it through. Now it's a bit further. Good. One of the problems with doing something like this, you want to make 2 components. We want them to be the same. Do you do them singly, individually? Do you do them as a pair? If you can do things as a pair, it's going to make things so much easier. Now, I said we've already done a little bit of prep, so cut some components in. If we can cut them out as when you do it, first of all, you'll save a bit of time. You'll make them the same shape, which is also going to make things easier later. So everything that we've just done at the moment, we've got a big hole, 9.5 right at the end. We've got 4 little holes. Now, when we do this as a chair, and we haven't looked at yet, it'd be a good time to do it. How this comes together, it all bolts up. Again, there is a hardware kit that goes with this. So let's get these out carefully. I've got another bag I've got to put them in. Got a nut on the floor. Be a good place to put out. So you can see what they are. Now I'm just going to grab a bolt, washer. I'm just going to put that on there for a second. What are these? So they're quite a large domed head bolt. Nice slot, threaded. Nylock nut on the other end so it doesn't come loose. These are stainless steel. That's an important part of this chair, especially if you did something like the chestnut or even some of the softwoods. You'll get that rusting problem with the steel components. If they're not stainless, it will start to corrode and damage the wood. It will also mark the woodwork. So actually stainless steel will be a better way of going for this. Likewise, the screws that we've been using on these is stainless steel. So again, that stops things rusting. Stops the corrosion, actually looks a little bit better as well. So stainless steel screws again are there. Bolts I'm just going to put back in the bag so things aren't going to fall about. Screws, we're going to temporary tack it. So these are 35mm. We need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. So we haven't got to use stainless screws at this stage because we're going to take these out. This is just about holding this together. So screws down there. Let's do those first. We'll have that one in a minute. Right.
So we've got a question. Could we use those templates on a router with a bearing guided cutter?
To cut them out?
Yeah.
When we cut them out purely on the bandsaw and just hand shape them in with some abrasive paper and a spoke shape. It's as simple as that. People seem to think you've got really complicated and actually got to route them out or whatever. If you mean, can you use the template then to copy on the router table? We're going to get to. But in simple, I want to. You can and you can't. Now, the reason I say you can and you can't, and I tried. We really did try, and I've tried, to speed this up. Can we make it easier? There's too much grain change too much end grain comes in, too much short grain fibers, so it flicks those fibers out. You can imagine this nice long component. You've got to come up round somewhere. So end grain, it's got supports. The minute you go down this curve, you lose it. You've got short grain going against it. It's going to flick out. Come down here, you've almost got to turn the template over and work from different sides for different positions. It would be lovely to route them all. All right. So if that's what you're getting at, that's the thing. If it's shaping the template, would it be an MDF? Really easy to cut on your bandsaw, jigsaw maybe, and then hand sand all this in. So we've got our screws. Just going to put this together. Let's just double check things that aren't going to be too big. Very good. Want to get them flush with the surface. Let's take our torque bit down just a little bit. Don't want to pull these in loads. This is the position later, which when we assemble the chair, these screw holes are going to be really important. Where are we? Let's have a look. This bolt, or this hole, next to your bolt hole. So those bolt kits go in there. That stainless steel kit goes into there. I've got some dowel, 9.5 mil, bit loose. Hopefully. We want one that we can tap in. Can't remember when I got a loose one in the bag, but okay. Gives you an idea what I want it to do. It's one of a bit paranoid then that, so we can tap that in. Why do we want to do that? That keeps this end all in line. So those boards don't move when we're cutting them or anything else. Makes it easy, even for my aspect of my shaping. Can I make it quick and simple? We have a little bit on there, I'll get in a minute. Craig, we have our shapes. So we've got our board, but let's just go back to, all right, so you can get your screws, you've got your bolt hole, we've got our pattern drawn out. So Craig, you can have that, we can go.
Thank you very much.
Out, mate. All right.
Okay.
Hopefully you can see all that.
Yeah, that's great. So what Jason in effect has done is pinned those two components together. They're both, they need to be an identical shape and size. So pinning them together, machining them, planing them, after clean them up after the bandsaw, it ensures everything is spot on. And these aren't just random screw holes he's put in there. They're going to be screw holes or fixing points anyway. So we're not damaging, our lovely chair. So what we need to do now is just take this over to the bandsaw and cut it out. So follow me on over. Right, so there we are on the bandsaw. The blade that I've got fitted is a 1/4 inch wide, 6 TPI. It's a fantastic blade for doing this kind of work. We've got a double stack timber here, but it's still only 38 millimeters in width. It's softwood. It's going to machine really easily. I've taken the time to ensure that my blade is square to the table, and I'm going to drop the guides down to support my blade and guard over the area of blade that I really just don't need to have exposed. And it's important that you try and put your piece of material through in the right orientation. So when you're swooping round a cut, you're not going to come on the inside and collide to the body of the machine. So that's what I'm going to start. I'm going to look at where am I going to start. I've got a lovely curve here to follow, and that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be my very first cut. So bandsaw's on, make sure everything's tight, and I'm just going to lead in, and I'm really going to take my time following Jason's lines here. The more time you take on the bandsaw, the better your cuts are, the less time you'll have finishing, sanding, planing afterwards. So let's just take it slow and steady. I'm just going to lead in. All right, there it is. I've hit the line, slow and steady. I'm coming to my first curve, so I'm going to roll on round. There it is. Picking up that line nicely. Got a bit of a straight coming on now. So there it is. Just follow that straight. I'm going to change my hand position. The hands are getting all a little bit too close to the blade. And I'm just going to roll on round. Right, as said, taking my time. I'm supporting over the back of the machine here because I've got a big overhang. Rolling around slowly. When you're turning a curve on the bandsaw, don't stop turning. Here we go. We just got caught on the bottom end of that dowel that Jason put in. It's just protruding through. And we'll bring it on round to the outer edge. Sliding on through. And slow down as we come out of the cut. Oh, there we go. Push the off cut. Now my next cut. Well, I've got a few to do. So all of these remaining cuts are straights. I'm not going to come off a fence because they're at a funny angle. So I'm going to start carefully. Don't put too much pressure to start with. Let those teeth bed in. Slide on through, square and straight. Keep an eye on where the thumb is. All the way out. Well, there it is. You might use an offcut to get rid of those if you need to. Right, I'll just nip off this end because it'll make my longer straight cut just a little bit easier to do. All right, sliding on through. Okay, and then I got one long straight cut, and I'm going to do nice, slow, and steady. Being very mindful now not to come off my line. I'm getting close to the screws. The machine is cutting beautifully. You can see how good that freehand straight line is. And slow down as I come through. Okay. Right. So there we have the two components. Now these form the main sides of the base on the chair. All right. Both are square, clean, and equal, with very, very little cleanup to do now. So that goes over to Jason now to hit the bench and some hand tools.
Okay, so got this beautiful shape, nicely cut, and a bit of time to get your accuracy. Now you saw me kind of dash in and grab these. So I was watching nice and carefully. Grab these two little wedges because what the method that I've got to do, this bit down the end, I'll show you on the bench in a minute. I want to plane that in. So I want something to support it. So the bits that we actually cut off, I can use to support it. So back on the bench a minute, let's just land down. Now, hopefully, and this goes back to that question that we had about, could you use this on the router table? Now, initially, when we first ever looked at this, and this is going back 8 or 9 years ago, plan was to put that on the top, large bearing cutter on the router table, and just whiz round them. It sounds so easy. Now, the problem here, I've come up, you can see our grain direction. Up through here, not a problem, up to that point, because the grain fibres are getting longer. From here coming round, you've got short fibres, and this section here is quite short, where the crown comes up for that curve, and it flicks these fibres over. It breaks them off. Likewise, when you come down here, you've got the same result. So you almost need to be able to work it from there, turn it over, come the other side, come back. It was too much back and forwards, so it makes it tricky. So kind of then looked at, if you spend a bit of time on your bandsaw, cut it out nice and accurately, you can then clean it up. Craig's, I think, got a question.
Yeah, just a question about cladding walls of a new workshop. Exciting times, new workshop. We love it. The stuff that we used in our craft workshop, or Ben's workshop, really, we used 11mm OSB with backing at every 400. All right, gives it good support if you're going to be hanging stuff like cleats and stuff. If you can't go every 400 with your back battens, go up to something like 18 mil OSB that will give you a bit more strength when you're fixing stuff too. If you wanted to go every 600 with your back buttons, then 18 mil. Every 400 with your back buttons, then you'll be all right with 11 mil. We've got a fair bit of weight on our wall and it's not fallen down yet. It's nice and cheap. Looks great, actually. And yeah, works well. Okay, over to you, Jace.
Okay, so just sitting up on the bench, playing around with the clamp. With those two little wedge bits or triangles, let's see if we can use them. Just an idea kind of had when we're machining that, cutting that out. If I can put these back on here, they're adding support. So my first cut, as long as the clamps don't fall off, I can put it in the vise. Just checking where you're on the camera. I've got to come round the other way. Just really so the body of the clamp I put on is not going to be in the way. It actually will be better for you. I think you'll see more. Craig, we're in camera still.
All good, all good.
Fantastic, good. That on there. Want to clean this end up. Want it to be straight. Now you've got a number of things. You've got all these things on the bench that I've quickly laid out. This goes back to those sessions that we've covered. So we've got your hand planes, block planes, spoke shades we sharpened last week. Part of the reason for doing that, get them sharp for this. We've even got things like the RAS, Japanese files, a whole range of different things I can use for this. Nothing's right or wrong. Go with what you have. Can use what you have, make it simple. So in here, I want to clean up the end. I want it straight, so I can go with a small block plane. Just going to wind it forward a little bit. So I'm adjusting the cut. Setting up. Check my mouth on it, looks okay. So just shape that in. Now if I can shape this in with the block plane, get a nice straight down through, will be good. Get it equal. Again, the other aspect that I really like this now, with holding both of these together, so with the screws and that pin, going to make life so much easier to get into here. Fingertips, fantastic. Get the square out in a minute. Just see where we are there. So I'm just going to reach up, grab my little square on there. Not going to take out the vise. I can get an idea of where I am, where I'm not. Bit on the far side. So a little block plane. Now, the wedge bits end down here. Oh, got to change grip. Right down there, hoping you see there's a join line there. So I've cleaned up without dropping things there. But they've added a bit of support. Stop anything splintering out as we're planing it. So simple to do. Take them off. So adding strength to those fibres. We've got underneath we can do. Now gone with block plane. Why? It's lighter, easier to control. It's also, this is a 69.5. It's a little bit wider in the width. This way. So it will easily accommodate the two bits of board we've got in here without touching the edge, won't lift it up. It's lower angle. So this is actually an approach angle of 12 degrees, not 25 degrees. It's more suited for what we're doing now, a little bit of end grain work. So all those things are adding up to giving me a better cut. Sharpened it, we're a 25 and a 30 degree cutting angle. So it's got a 25 primary bevel, 30 as a cut. This one, go through there. Just want to level this bit. I can work either direction. I'm just going to push lengthwise at the moment. We're going with the grain at this stage. And this is definitely getting longer fibres, so we haven't got the problem where we needed to put the bits on before. And we're doing the nice easy bits to start with. You can see what we're getting as a cut. Feeling what's happened. Fingertips, still got a little bit. Another good thing you can start to do, I think we can probably see it, and here you've got a line, shoulder line. So in other words, fingers drop down, that tilt aspect of where the cut is. Let's just flip that over so you can see it. So you get that angle. Get that. If I look at the shoulder line here and judge, does it look square? How clean does that look? I can judge pretty much by how square I'm getting down through here, because if we take more off one side, the line will tilt back more. So just visually a quick look of trying to see if this looks parallel will tell me how square I look. quite a simple one to do. And with this being what it is of the chair, this bit sits on the floor actually. It's not that critical, it's dead square. Nice and clean. Just clean it up. So I'll turn it over. We've got a long slope to do all the way down through. So it starts from this curve, coming down through. Just looking at things now, grain direction on this is more important. The grain is coming out. There, fiber's getting longer. Other one, same thing, which is good. Because you put the two together, which we know is going to make a nice pair. I'm going to turn them out so you guys can see more. Up to there. Lock them in the vise. We can go all the way along. We go short plane. So this is number 4. It will hit the high spots quickly, not the back. If we go something longer length, so a 5, 5.5, it will help straighten it. The 4 is going to be good just at the moment, just to see what we've got. Again, just setting up, so I'm doing adjustment on here. Minute bit, don't need a lot. Just trying to see what's happened. So I know I've set it up quite well. We're going to hit those high bits to start with. See if I can come around the corner a bit. Probably get out the camera a bit more, that'd be good. And again, angling it. We've got a shear cut. Instead of pushing dead straight, I can angle a little bit. It'll help give us a cleaner finish. We push through. And all we want to do on this is get this back to flat. Now I'm doing the nice easy task at the moment. I think Craig's going to creep in now. I'm going to go low angle plane for a minute. This is giant block plane. We're cutting down for engrain fibres. Got to remember to take my magnet off, which is my blade gird. Why do I want this? It's longer in length. It will help produce a nice straight edge. We're just bouncing off the bottom of the bandsaw cut. See if we can colour things in. You can hear it. So let's see what we cut. Little bits to get. My left hand, fingertip acting a bit of a guide. Keep things parallel, pushing down, follow through. Just losing that. Let's speed things up a bit. Temptation on this if you're in a hurry, or increase the cut. Not always a good thing. It might take less time, or you think it does, but you might tear the fibres more. We want to get clean finish. Also, if you increase the cut, you need probably to add a bit more effort. So this is cutting beautifully and nicely because I've set it just to do enough. I can progress through. I'm not breathing too heavily, which is good. Craig's got another question, I think.
Yeah, we just had a question come in. Could we use decking, pre-treated kind of decking for this sort of job?
As long as you can get the thickness. The problem will be the side, because you've got the grooves and things. I think that will affect possibly how the chair's going to fold out. Be nicer to keep it out of flat material. You can get treated ungrooved type decking, if that's what I can describe. So really, we're just looking at planks. That would work, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I think
you can use whatever timber you want. Ideally, the pine isn't actually an outdoor wood. This is an interior. As long as we treat it when we get to the end of it, that'll work. Or go with something that's pressure treated. That needs to be, in reality, dry. Okay. You were going to say, go on.
Well, I was just going to say that, yeah, if you can get kind of plain decking, that would work, relatively cheap. However, if you cut into it, you've got to treat the cut surfaces, really. Otherwise, it just rots from those cut surfaces inside, because it's only really quite deep in, but the outer perimeter of a board that's ever treated, pressure treated in, but it doesn't go all the way in, all the way through. So if you cut particularly in fancy shapes like this, you're going to have to treat your cuts, really. But yeah, decking's not, yeah, why not?
And obviously, as you've just said, wherever you cut through, you're going to have to treat as well. So if you go with what I would class as green pine, weather resistant outside, where you cut through, you've got to treat something.
Yeah.
Now in here, we've got to get our curve. Our block plane, and this is an interesting thing from the spoke shape video. Could you use a block plane? If I angle it a bit, which will help get that, I can do some. It's actually not quite wide enough. It's difficult also to match this curve. So this is going back to one of the questions the other week. So on here, I've got to look at, As we said with Router, you've got the problem of coming up round the front curve, it will flick the edges out. So we've got to go spoke shape. We want something flat. Now I've got my low angle. How well did we set it last week? Well, not bad. We can come down. We've got, because some of you are going to say, you've got a special spoke shape. No, something flat as a spoke shape. Again, now we're having the two boards together. You've got more stability here. Instead of, if it's just one narrow board, you're more likely to tilt. So the two adds more stability, helps you get things more accurate. I can get down to there. On here, I've got to start the very top of where the grain fibres are coming out. So where I am now is as far back as I can come. Push down our line. Get that in. Again, fingertips are telling me what's happening here, how the contour is changing, where the bandsaw cut is. I've got a little mark there. Position, sit flat. A little bit of angle, so I tilt, push along. So even before I've started to cut with this, I've got the position, make sure I'm sat nicely. I can find the cut, follow in. Why aren't we cutting in here? Because we're now, let's just flip him out the vise, coming on a curve, coming back up. So we get this hollow. So I've actually cut down to here. The curve is starting now. The flat bottom of our spoke shape is now riding across that curve. It lifts it up. The blade can't make contact unless we come out a lot more. So we want something to get into here. Now I said you go with whatever you want. You've got shallow curve spoke shape. I've got to work from there and come from the top all the way down. If we come up here too much, the fibres are going to lift and splinter off. They'll break out. There's no support there. We can get to there. I said to you, different things we've used. Japanese file, right. Now this is still a cutting tool. It's quite amazing that fact we can cut across. I can come gently coming down those fibres, trying to build my curve, and again I'm monitoring the square edge at the top to see what's happening. Now this one is extra fine, so it's quite a good one to go with for the pine. We don't want anything too aggressive. I can work either direction, as in coming up the curve, coming down it. It won't tear the fibres. We can blend things in. That's not too bad. Whilst it's still in the position we're in. A few of you are shocked when I said you could use a normal file, hand file. This is like a brazier paper. So curve, I turn it over the flat, the corner edges will blend in. I am working cross grain. We can go up. Go flip it round for you. We've got to get down around the front. Okay.
Yeah, so we just had a comment from Chris about cutting treated timber indoors. And it's maybe not the health and safety, maybe not the best thing to do. I mean, personally, I'm always masked up anyway. I always use good extraction. And I think you really got to treat that stuff like some of the nasty hardwoods. Make sure you protect yourself. No dust is good for you. No dust at all is good for you. This particular stuff, I mean, I know with treated timber now, the chemicals used to treat that timber are far less nasty than they ever used to be. But you've still got to protect yourself, yeah. Certainly not good if you burn it, if you chuck it on the fire. It's not good to burn it on your indoor fire at home. Chuck it on the wood burner. It's not good stuff, really.
Other thing with it, if we think of it's pressure treated, it tends to be damp. If you're going to do any machining, make sure when you finish doing the machining, you clean it out.
Yeah.
But bandsaw, if you plane it or whatever else, even my hand tools, if we did that, we're outside, we're getting a shaving, we're not getting dust so much. But the wet nature of that material, because it's been soaked and submerged and pressure treated, got a lot of moisture in it. It will start to make things go rusty really quickly. All right, so that's something just to warn you about with your hand tools, your machines, everything else. You come out, you just, a few shavings, it'll be all right. I'll come back in the morning and do it. It goes rusty overnight, quite quick to do. So bear that in mind. We've got our long curve to do. around the front. So I turned it around the vise. I want flat spoke shave again. Longest point I can come up to is where those fibres get longer. So let's just flip him out. It's coming around here. I think we can see. Let's have a quick, yep. Okay, so we're coming around. Got this curve to cut. That's my maximum point there because these fibres actually are getting shorter as they come down where we cut it off. So that's got to be cut that way. That's got to come round to there. So a lot of changing. This bit was a stop point and we're cutting down towards me. So that bit, that's down here, come down. So there's lots of grain change. And that part of when we have that question about could you use the router table and your templates? There's so much difference in grain orientation on this and how it changes. It really messed it up. Flicks the grain out a lot. So let's get back on spoke shape. Gently up round. Now again, we're not square. I've got a little bit of angle. This is flat. It'll work nicely around there. Come round, blending in. So I'm coming back to my line on the top here. Tiny bit there. Good. Got to flip him over. Got to come round down to there. We've got to get this bottom bit up to the curve. We definitely don't want to pull towards us. You're going to splinter the fibres off nearer me. So I want those supporting, come down them. I can angle a bit as we start. Just chasing that bandsaw cut. Got a couple of lines still in here that we're after. Want to just bring it around a little bit. Get this curve bit blended in so I can see a bit more. Colour change is telling me where things are cutting nicely. A bit like Cohen yesterday, we were resting the bevel on his gouge or getting that bevel rub. Get that here if I rest it and cut it correctly. If I'm coming back up, going to get problems. So I've got to stop, see how that colour changes. There. A little bit on this edge. Going to stop where we just come up to. Put that down. Right, bear with us. Just okay. So on here, hopefully, we bring things up. We've got our shape. We've got something cleanly cut. Got round. I think you can see all that. So our spoke shaving things fantastic for that. Things like the fowls and the raft, really good to get into these tricky curves. And these components have got a number of different ones. Like I said, we've already done a few things to make sure we've got time to. Again, long curves can be tricky. Things have got to be flat. Got to be quite accurate. So playing those in if you can. Craig, what we got?
So we've got a couple of questions. The first question was about the jewelry box, routed jewelry box demo that kind of went wrong the other week, and I was going to do that. We will be looking to do that hopefully by the end of July. Another question was, are we going to be demonstrating at Chestnut's wood turning weekender? We're not going to be there, I'm afraid, not for this one. However, we are, fingers crossed, we're all going to be full guns ahead to Makers Central, first weekend in August, the NEC in Birmingham. All four of us will be there to talk to you, meet and greet, and talk tools and woodworking and stuff. So lovely to see you guys there. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
So we've got our components. Now, there is a lot of components kind of to cut out. If you get into this, the screwing together thing helps immensely. I know if you try, you can imagine you cut two of these out by the time. You then try and put them together. You've got different heights of where you've cut things and moved a little bit. It's difficult to blend together. So if you can screw things together, we've got a bolt hole. We've got the 4 screws that are relevant for later on. If the component doesn't have that, can you leave a little area maybe that you cut off when you get to the end? So you have a screwy end, clean up as much as you can, then cut the ends to length. Different ways like that. There are ways around doing that bit. All right. Now, so tomorrow, Craig, let's just get our chair. Or in tomorrow, really, it's about we're going to have the bottom of the chair done, the main frame. So Craig, I think, got an idea of where we're headed with this. I'm going to drag that forward and probably
Yeah,
see.
so tomorrow, look, as Jay said, we're not going to show you cutting out every single component. We'd be there for a fair while. But what we're looking to do tomorrow, we've cut out some components. We're looking to assemble this lower base frame, really. We'll be cutting in the cross ties, these here, a couple of different sizes, just to help tie it all together. And we'll do a very similar sort of cutout and shape for you. But the goal tomorrow is to show you the assembly of the first set of components, really. And then we're back to Tuesday with Colwyn, and then we'll go on with the next 3 episodes and we'll have a finished chair for you guys to see. All right. Let's just put that together. You see how quick it folds out? There we go. Well, that's it for today. If you've enjoyed this video, give it the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.